More issues tonight to tell you about happening at the border with Canada. If you've traveled to see our neighbors to the north for maybe a summer trip, you might be asking the question that we are. What is going on right now with the wait times? We've been tracking long delays at all three of our bridges over the last few weeks, and especially yesterday. Take a look at the backup in Niagara Falls during the afternoon on Monday. We sped up this video so you can kind of get a sense of the long lines. At one point, drivers at the Lewiston-Queenston and Rainbow bridges had a more than 2-hour wait to get into the United States. And it was just a Monday, not a weekend, not a holiday in either country. At the Peace Bridge, you can see here it wasn't much better. There was a more than hour-long wait there for almost the entire afternoon into the evening. Drivers were likely frustrated when they saw that only 7 of the 12 lanes were open there for a good chunk of that time. Joining us live right now is Buffalo area Congressman Brian Higgins. Sir, we appreciate you coming on the show tonight. I know that we've talked to you a lot about myriad issues happening at the border right now. What is your understanding as to what's happening at the current moment and why, especially yesterday, this delay was just sort of off the charts?
Well, mandatory deployments to the southern border from the northern border. 30 Customs and Border Protection agents were mandatorily assigned to the southern border from the northern border in June. Another 33 will be assigned in August. This at the peak season between the United States and Canada relative to tourism. The Canadian border is 5,500 miles long. The southern border is about 2,000 miles long. Canadians come into the United States, 21 million people every single year. They spend $22 million. Today at noon, there was a 46-minute wait to get into the United States from Canada. But if you were going from the United States to Canada, it was 12 minutes. This is unacceptable, and we are preparing legislation to stop these mandatory deployments of Customs and Border Protection agents from the northern border to the southern border.
I know that you have colleagues on both sides of the aisle, especially those who represent areas up here in the north. As you said, working on legislation, you've sent letters. It seems though it's hard to get the attention right now when you think about all the attention focused on what's happening at the southern border. How do you convince the powers that be that this needs to be paid attention to as well?
Well, there's strength in numbers, it's reach and frequency, it's expressing outrage that you have 12 inspection booths. In many cases, only 3 are manned during the day. All of those inspection booths should be up and available for people that want to come into the United States from Canada and Americans that want to go into Canada. Our economies are deeply integrated. Our life qualities are deeply integrated. One of the great values that we have as a community is that we're a border community. And people spend summers in Bay Beach, Crystal Beach, Thunder Bay, Ontario. And Canadians love to come to the United States, to the city of Buffalo, to the Buffalo waterfront, but also to Ellicottville. So getting the border right is critically important. The greatest inducement to travel is ease of travel.
Congressman, I know that what's happening at the southern border right now, the numbers of illegal crossings are down substantially to what we saw in terms of the highs, just a couple of months ago. Does that give you any confidence that maybe the agents or the officers, the CBP officers who were moved from here down south may be able to come back north sooner rather than later?
No, it doesn't. I mean, they shouldn't be, it shouldn't be a mandatory deployment. If they need additional officers at the southern border, you hire more officers. You don't recruit people to work at the 4 land ports of entry between the United States and Canada here in Western New York and then deploy them to the southern border. They have no choice in the matter. And these deployments last 60 days. So they're disrupted in terms of their employment. They're disrupted in terms of their families. This is unfair to them. It undermines the ability to recruit more people, professional law enforcement agents along the northern border. So this has to stop. We hoped to appeal in a bipartisan way. Members of the Northern Border Caucus, of which I am a co-chair, in a diplomatic way to get them to stop this. It doesn't appear to be working. Therefore, we will prepare legislation to restrict their ability, Homeland Security, Customs and Border Protection, to, on a mandatory basis, redeploy Customs and Border Protection agents to the southern border.
Finally, Congressman, I'm almost out of time, but on this same issue, a lot of people think, well, I'll get my Nexus card and then I can use the Whirlpool Bridge where there's not usually as much a delay, but those Nexus, it's taken a long time to get that. Any new information on that?
Well, the Nexus situation is better, but the baseline was awful to begin with, and it continues to be awful. People, the federal government, particularly when it comes to issues like the Nexus Pass, the federal government has a serious customer service problem. People, go in good faith. They do these interviews, they fill out the applications, they're good, law-abiding citizens, and they expect a reasonable turnaround from the time they make application for a Nexus Pass to the time they get them. And there is a 6-7 month delay. What that does, in effect, it not only inconveniences those who have made application, who are seeking an interview to get a Nexus Pass, it keeps them in the more traditional lanes, creating more congestion and increasing the wait times. This is no way to manage a border, and it has to change.
Congressman Brian Higgins represents New York's 26th district, including right here in Buffalo. Thanks for your time tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael.